fundamentally, we wanted to send a message that there is a responsibility, fiduciary maybe, but I think a moral and ethical responsibility to recognize that unlike machinery, workers do not exist in the workspace, only in the workplace. And so there is a wider world of work where we must be conscious that persons can be exposed to gender-based violence. I understand, and Wayne spoke to this earlier, the development of the policy being the first phase of the initiative. The input was provided by a wide cross-section of companies and the workers' organizations across the region. And the second phase, focusing now on the implementation of the policy by participating countries across the region. Implementation is something that, and I don't want to use colloquialisms or words that people use, so these deficits and disorders and those kind of things, I'm not going to say that. But it's a challenge that we have, implementing good policy. It is a challenge that governments have, and that is probably the most visible manifestation. But it is also a problem that private sector organizations have. And I speak as one who spent all my life, except the last 5 years, in private sector, and so have an understanding that it is a challenge that we can address though together, implementing good policy, and particularly implementing good policy when that policy represents best practice, represents what is right by our people. Employers, again, including government, have a moral responsibility and ethical responsibility to create a safe and inclusive workplace for all employees. And so having a gender-based violence policy demonstrates commitment and builds a positive image for the company's willingness to address challenging issues. Some of these issues are not easy to verbalize and address because sometimes of cultural strictures, but we must address them. And addressing difficult issues is what adults do. The implementation and promotion of a gender-based violence policy sends a strong signal of commitment from leaders and managers that there is zero tolerance for violence, harassment, and discrimination. The joint policy outlines the responsibility of the employer to put systems and procedures in place and to implement and enforce the policy.